Last season, the National League South was the closest league in England, with 7 or 8 teams with the chance to win the title on the final day of the season. Truro ended up winning it with Torquay second, and that National League South starts again this weekend, so it's time that I revised my predictions. Let's recap my previous predictions. I had Torquay United winning the title, with Dagenham second, Worthing third, Dorking, Chelmsford, Maidstone and Hornchurch making up the playoff places, with Maidenhead, Eastbourne and Chesham just outside. I had Ebbsfleet mid-table with Farnborough, Hampton and Richmond, Hemel Hempstead, Dover 15th, Weston, Enfield, Horsham, Bath and Chippenham surviving, with Slough, Salisbury, Tonbridge and Totton going down. Since I made that prediction, a lot has changed. There's been a lot of transfers in and out. There's been one massive takeover of one of the clubs. So I think this is going to be an exciting league again this season. I don't think it's going to be as close, because I think there's going to be 2 teams, maybe 3, that run away with it. Down at the bottom, it is ridiculously close and it's so hard to call. In fact, only one of the teams I put down I've still got in the relegation zone. That shows how tough it is. Virtually nobody has kept the position that I had them in last time. So drop your predictions in the comments below if you dare. It's a very hard league to predict. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel and let's go through the teams. I'm going 24th up to 1st. So I put Totton last in my last prediction. So let's talk about them first. So AFC Totton. When I made my previous prediction, they hadn't really brought anyone in. They came up last season. Since my prediction, they've made a few signings from higher graded teams. They've kept the majority of the squad that got them promoted. I've spoken to a couple of people that go to watch AFC Totton, and I've got a bit more confidence in them now. I think putting them bottom, as a newly promoted side, it's easy to put a newly promoted side straight back down if you don't know a lot about them, and I think my problem was I didn't know a great deal about Totton. I still think undoubtedly they're going to be in a relegation battle, and I think the fans appreciate how tough the step up is. I think they will actually stay up. They're not the one team that I'm still relegating. So AFC Totton move up from 24th, and the most important thing is they're above the line. So AFC Totton 20th, but it's going to be so close down at the bottom. Another side I relegated was Tonbridge Angels. I put them 23rd last time out. They seem to have raided Lewis. They've brought 5 players from there. Lots of players out, but they seem to have strengthened the squad pretty well. I had them going down in 23rd. I think the same with Totton really is I didn't do enough research into Tonbridge. I think they are going to be strong enough to finish roughly the same as they were last season, so towards the bottom. I've got Tonbridge Angels finishing 18th, so that's quite a jump from my last one. In my previous prediction, I had Salisbury in 22nd place. Various players in, various players out. No massive improvements to the squad, I don't think, with Salisbury. They finished just above the relegation zone last season. I think they are in for a fight again, and Salisbury are the one team that I'm still keeping in the relegation zone. So Salisbury only move up 1 place, which isn't enough to keep them up. They move from 22nd to 21st. They will be in a battle with Totton to stay in the division, and I don't think Salisbury will stay in the division. So Salisbury City 21st and relegated, unfortunately. And what about Slough Town? I had a few people comment on the previous video that said Slough have recruited well, and when I looked into them again since the previous one, they have. They're right. They've brought in Jordan Greenwich from Chelmsford, who I imagine wants to play, when Chelmsford have brought in a lot of signings themselves. They've brought in quite a few decent signings. They have lost a few players, but I think Jordan Greenwich is going to score goals for them. I don't think Slough are going to be relegated anymore. I had them 21st. I think they probably will be in the lower end of the table, but I think they'll be okay. So Slough Town 16th now. If you're a Slough fan, or if you've watched my video before, drop your comments. What do you think about Slough Town? Would you be happy with 16th? Chippenham Town I put just above the relegation zone last time. I put them in 20th place. They were just below mid-table last season. They just beat Hereford in pre-season. Not much activity there. But I think, given what I saw, I watched the highlights against Hereford and what I've seen from them towards the back end of last season, I think Chippenham are going to be okay. I think there's a lot of teams in this league that have lost a lot of players, whereas Chippenham seem to have kept the majority of the squad that kept them in mid-table last season. So I think it's another mid-table season for them. So I've got Chippenham Town in 13th place, nowhere near the relegation zone. And then Bath City, another team that stayed up relatively comfortably in the end. They brought in a few, not many players, like loan players from Exeter, Plymouth and local players. Not a lot happening at the club really, which is quite worrying. I think with the National League North, the bottom of the table has strengthened massively, whereas the National League South, I think the mid-table teams have kind of come down to the bottom of the table level, whereas the North's got stronger. I am concerned about Bath City. I think I'm going to keep them exactly where they were last season. So I had them 19th. I've still got them 19th. But I think they are going to be in that relegation battle with Tottenham and Salisbury. And Tonbridge just above them. So Bath City 19th. Which brings us to Horsham. So Horsham came up last season. I think I was ambitious keeping them out of the relegation zone because very little's happened there since they came up. I think it's going to be difficult to make the step up. It's going to be difficult to make a step up anyway, but when you haven't brought players in, it's even harder. Unfortunately, I don't think Horsham have done enough to stay in the division, so I've moved them from 18th. I've got them down right at the bottom in 24th place. If you know something I don't know, comment below. Will Horsham stay up? I don't think they've done enough. Enfield Town were 17th in my last prediction. Just above Salisbury last season. Very lucky to stay up. Lots of players gone. Not many players recruited. I think Enfield Town are going to have a struggle this season. I think with the likes of Tottenham and Tonbridge strengthening and them not strengthening, I think they are going to slip down the table. And I think this is the year that Enfield do go down. So I've got Enfield Town in 23rd and relegated, unfortunately. Weston-super-Mare, just outside the playoffs last season. Very little ins or outs. Can be looked at that good or bad. They've brought nobody in, but they've kept the majority of the squad that almost got them into the playoffs. The thing with Weston-super-Mare is I think they overachieved. I think with the top end of this division has strengthened vastly, and with Western not strengthening, I think they are going to get left behind. I don't think they're going to be anywhere near the relegation zone or anything like that, but I just think they're going to drop down into the middle of the table. So I put Weston-super-Mare in 12th, so a bit of a drop off from last season. Then we've got newly promoted Dover Athletic. They have kept the squad that got them promoted. Very few players in. And what did I say about Horsham? Very few players in. Hard to make the step up anyway. Dover seem to bounce between step 2 and 3 quite a lot. I think that trend's going to continue because I think Dover are going to drop straight back down. Unless, of course, they bring in a few players in the coming weeks. I think it's going to be a very long season for Dover. I've got them just below Salisbury. I've got them in 22nd. And unfortunately, that means they go back down. I had Hemel Hempstead 14th last time around. They've been so busy in the transfer window, bringing players in, lots of players out. And I think as a result, I think it's difficult to see where they're going to finish. Like, have they recruited well? Have they not recruited well? It's changed so much that you almost need to play it safe with Hemel Hempstead. So they finished mid-table last season. I predicted they'd be mid-table this season. I'm going to keep them in mid-table. I've got them in 14th place. And that's almost a let's play it safe because it's so hard to tell with the players they've brought in. So now, those are the teams I put in the bottom half. We're moving on to the top half. Farnborough Town I had 12th. They finished mid-table last season. They have brought quite a few players in, but they've also lost a lot of players to rival clubs in the division. I don't think they're going to be relegation threatened or anything like that, but I think Farnborough do slip down the table a bit. So I've got Farnborough just above Slough Town. I've got them in 15th place. And then let's talk about Ebbsfleet United. So they were dreadful last season, relegated with so many games to spare in the National League. I thought it was going to be a tough season for them, so I put them 11th. But Ebbsfleet United, it's almost as if they started to prepare for the relegation and life in the National League South before the season even finished, because they've done so much business in the transfer window. Various players in. They've signed Bella Gambi and the goalkeeper from Barnet and Coker from Barnet. They've signed Kwesi Appiah from Boreham Wood, which is a fantastic signing because he's a natural goal scorer. And whereas I don't think Ebbsfleet are going to challenge the top 2, maybe 3, I do think I'm starting to agree with everyone else that puts them near the top. So Ebbsfleet United are the first of my teams to make the playoffs. I think Ebbsfleet, they're going to start to bounce back this season. 4th place for Ebbsfleet, playoff places, and then Chesham United. So they were 10th in my previous prediction. They were mid-table again. The signing of Alex Babos from Hereford, I was sad to see him go, but that's a brilliant signing for a team like Chesham United. They've kept the majority of their squad. Babos is an ambitious signing as well. They are a very ambitious club. I think they seem to be punching above their stations a bit with the league that they're in, but I think they're going to prove themselves again. I think the playoff push is a bit too much for them this season. Babos certainly offers that creativity that we're going to miss out from him leaving. I've still got Chesham United in 10th, I think just outside the playoffs, and I think that has to be seen as a good season. So in my last prediction I had Eastbourne Borough in 9th place. They lost Adam Murray to Kidderminster Harriers, but they've made quite a few strong looking signings, although they have lost a few players as well. I think Eastbourne will be okay. Had them just outside the playoffs last time. I think the squad they had is good enough to repeat that. The players they've brought in, I think Eastbourne probably do drop off just a little bit. So I've got them in 5th place, so they're still occupying a playoff place. Eastbourne Borough 5th. Maidenhead United came down from the National League. I had them narrowly missing out on the playoffs. Lots of players in, lots of players out. I think the ambition for them is to get straight back up. I had them just outside the playoffs. This time I've got Maidstone and Maidenhead switching. I do get those two clubs mixed up. So Maidenhead were 8th, I've got Maidenhead 6th, so they're in the playoffs. They would have an eliminator against Eastbourne Borough, which would be a hell of a tie. Maidenhead United 6th, and now we're talking about the top 7, so the playoffs and the automatic promotion places. A lot of predictions I've seen put Hornchurch down the bottom, but I think they're a very ambitious team. They've brought in Charlie Ruff from Chelmsford, Josh Hare from Boreham Wood, kept most of the squad that finished mid-table last season. I said previously I think Hornchurch are in for a really good season, and I'm going to stick by that. I'm going to keep them in 7th. So Hornchurch might be a shock to some people, but they're in the playoff places. Hornchurch 7th, and yeah, in the playoff places. Maidstone United was 6th in my last prediction, and they got into the playoffs just last season. So they appear to have raided Welling United, but they have lost a few players as well. I think the top end of this league is so competitive now. Like I said, I switched Maidstone and Maidenhead round, so I've now got Maidstone United in 8th, where Maidenhead jump into 6th. So I think whereas they did get into the playoffs, they snuck into the playoffs last season, I think Maidstone do miss out on the playoffs this season. So 8th place. In 5th, I had Chelmsford City, and obviously you got Dagenham, who have recruited probably better than anyone else, but Chelmsford, they've gone pro, I believe, which is what the club needed. They've been there or thereabouts for quite some time, with the exception of last season, which was poor. They've spent big money. They have let a lot of players go, like Charlie Roth has gone, Jordan Greenidge has gone. But I think the players they've brought in are stronger than the players they've let go. And I think Chelmsford are looking like a National League club now. I think they're going to be very close. I think with Torquay and Dagenham in the league, probably going to be stronger than them. I think Chelmsford may be the best of the rest. Interestingly, if you've been to Chelmsford City's Melbourne Community Stadium, let me know what your thoughts were on it, because I saw a lot of reviews before I went last season that said it's a really bad place to watch football, but I really liked it. I thought the stand is high enough so you can see the pitch really well, even with the running track around it. Like, traditionally, running track stadiums aren't that great. So yeah, let me know. I think Chelmsford are on for a good season. I've put them in third. Obvious to tell who the top two are going to be, but Chelmsford City third, and Chelmsford City may go up through the playoffs. So Chelmsford third, and I'd say maybe them winning the playoffs. Dorking Wanderers I had fourth, because they're always there or thereabouts. They again seem to bounce between the National League and National League South, but this season they've lost a lot of players, not brought many players in, and the top of the table is so much stronger now than it was a few months ago. So I think Mark White is going to have a frustrating season, and I think Dorking actually miss out this season, so I've got them in ninth. Worthing were bronze medalists. They were third in my last prediction. Again, they've lost a lot more players than they've brought in. Again, the top of the league's got a lot stronger. Worthing, hugely ambitious, but I think this is almost a reality check for them this season. I've got Worthing dropping out of the playoff places and finishing in 11th. So that's quite a drop-off. So last time my top two were Torquay and Dagenham. They're still my top two. I had Dagenham and Redbridge second last time. I haven't changed many of these predictions with the league winners. The team I thought would win the league 6 weeks ago is generally the team I still think is going to win the league. This may change. So Dagenham and Redbridge I had second. Since I made that prediction when I thought they were going to be strong anyway, they've brought in new Qatari owners. They've signed ex-Premier League Andy Carroll, and they've raided lots of higher-up clubs in the EFL. Various players in. And I think they've lost a few, but they've lost a few players that probably aren't going to feature in that strong squad. But I think the new owners came in at just the right time, so they could spend their money ahead of the season and get the squad prepared. So I think Dagenham and Redbridge are going to win the league. I think if the owners had come in now, maybe they wouldn't have had quite so much time to build a team. But I think Andy Carroll's going to lead them. And Andy Carroll in the National League, I mean, he's getting on a bit now, but he's still going to score goals for fun at that level. Dagenham and Redbridge champions, winning the title, which means Torquay United are going to miss out again. They've boosted their attack with Callum Dolan and Sonny Fish, adding to their attack. Kept most of the squad that finished second on goal difference, I believe, last season to the rivals Truro. I think the unfortunate thing for Torquay is the fact that Dagenham look so good. I think Torquay were absolutely my shout for the champions this season, but I think with the strength of Dagenham and Redbridge, I think they're going to have to make do with the playoffs again. And then I think the doubt starts creeping in. I've actually got Chelmsford to win the playoffs. So Torquay United slip from champions to second. I think they will push Dagenham close, but I think Dagenham will be too strong. And I think with the funds they've now got from the new Qatari owners, I think if things don't go well at the start of the season for Dagenham, they chuck a load more money at it. So let's recap then. Dagenham and Redbridge are the champions. Torquay United second, Chelmsford City third. Ebbsfleet United, Eastbourne Borough, Maidenhead United and Hornchurch make up the playoffs. We've got Maidstone United, Dorking Wanderers, Chesham United and Worthing challenging for the playoffs but falling short. In the middle we've got Weston-super-Mare, Chippenham Town, Hemel Hempstead Town, Farnborough and Slough Town. Relegation battle, Hampton and Richmond Borough 17th, Tonbridge Angels 18th, Bath City 19th, Totton 20th, Relegated Salisbury, Dover Athletic, Enfield Town and Horsham. So that's my league season. I've just realised I missed Hampton and Richmond Borough. I skipped from Hemel Hempstead to Farnborough, so I do apologise to Hampton and Richmond Borough fans. I didn't intend to miss your club. Again, very similar to Hemel Hempstead, they've brought lots of players in, but lost a lot of players as well. So I think Hampton and Richmond will be in the middle. I've got Hampton and Richmond Borough 17th, as you've just seen. So that's my prediction. Drop yours in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe to my channel. The only league I've got left to finalise my prediction for is the Premier League, which obviously starts a week later, so that prediction will come out around this time next week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Boop, 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 boop.